Hey, welcome to How to Play, brought to you by the Games Capital. Today we're looking at a game that was a huge hit this year at the Essen Game Fair. It's Codenames by Czech Games Edition. This is a party-style game where two teams of rival spies are trying to identify field agents. Each team will have a spy master who knows the identity of these agents and will try and get his team to correctly identify them via their code names by giving clues. We'll get into that in a moment, but first of all, let's have a look at what's in the box. So the components for Codenames consist of a series of cards. So there's a whole heap of these cards which have various words on them which represent the different code names that are going to appear during the game. Each game you use 25 of those cards, and there's a heap of them in the box, so you'll never run out of different combinations. Then there's also these key cards which provide the spy masters with the information they need. It shows exactly where each of the different spies are, and also there are innocent bystanders and one assassin. We'll get to that in a moment. There are agent cards which are used by each team to identify their spies. Once you've identified a spy, you place that over the card, and there's 8 each of those, as well as innocent bystanders and also the assassin. More on that later. There's also a little stand which the spy masters can use to have easy access to their code or their key that they're looking at. And the only other component is this little sand timer, which according to the rules doesn't get used very often, only if you're in a position where it's dragging on, so you can elect to use the sand timer. That's the components for Codenames. Let's have a look at how this game works. Okay, to begin the game, you'll take 25 of the word cards, the code name cards, and you'll place them in a grid out on the table. Then a spy master is chosen from each team, and they will take one of these key cards and place it in the stand. Now, depending on the coloured lights that are around the outside of the card, that will determine which team goes first, either blue or red. The first team to play has to identify 9 code names. The second team only has to identify 8. So then each spy master will have a look at the key and determine where the spies from his colour are located. Then what he has to do is give clues to his team. Now basically a clue consists of a single word followed by a number. Now the word is something that relates to one of these code names. You're not allowed to say any of the words that are out on the playing area, if that makes sense. And the number is the number of cards that apply to that clue. So in other words, how many code names can be identified by that clue. Now it's fairly easy to come up with a single clue for a single word. That's basic. Ideally though, what you want to try and do is come up with a clue that will allow your team to identify multiple code names at once. So 2 or 3 would be great, or even more. But that takes quite a bit of thinking and planning as you look at all those words and try and figure out the clues. So for example, I've looked now at my series of names, if I was the blue team, and I can see 3 code names that belong to blue that relate to one word. So my clue in this instance would be fishing 3. So I'm telling my team that there are 3 code names that relate to the word fishing. So then my team will talk amongst themselves, try and figure out which words it could be that I'm referring to. The spy master is not allowed to say anything else. He can't give any hints or suggestions that they might be on the right track. He's just got to wait until they identify. The team then will identify the words one at a time. And in this instance, they will look and hopefully, first of all, identify the word cast, because cast is something that you do when you go fishing. There's also the word hook. So a hook is something that fishermen use, so presumably those two will be easy to get. The third clue might be a little bit of a stretch, but the third clue would be the word fly, as in fly fishing. So hopefully the team would identify correctly those 3 clues, and they would end up with 3 of these blue agent markers on there. We've identified 3 of our agents. And then the turn would pass to the red team, and they would do the same. Now, what happens if one of their guesses is incorrect? Well, depending on the outcome, it could be that they accidentally identify a red spy, in which case the token is placed on and red team get a bonus, one that they didn't have to work for. Or it might be that they identify an innocent bystander. That's not too bad, however the turn ends as soon as they fail to identify one of their spies. And then the final thing that could happen, and this would not be good, is there's one card out there that is the assassin. If they accidentally choose the assassin, then the game is over and that team loses instantly. And that's basically how Codenames works. Each spy master continues to give clues until one team has correctly identified all of their agents. And that's basically it.
In summary, 2 teams with the help of their spy master must identify all the code names of their agents. To do this, the spy master will give 1-word clues that relate to their identities. The first team to correctly identify all of their agents is the winner. Look out for the assassin.
Well, Codenames is a fantastic game. Great for one of those games nights where you've got a whole heap of people and you all want to play the same game. What's really good about it is trying to come up with a clue that will apply to multiple words. It can be quite a challenge. I mean, anyone can do a clue for a single word, but it's satisfying to be able to come up with a really good clue, and hopefully your teammates are on the same wavelength as you. So if you want a great party game, then grab a copy of Codenames right now. Okay, well, thanks for watching. Happy gaming!